you could become a permanent resident of South Park, at least according to this new fan contest that South Park seems to be doing over at South Park Studios. And not just a resident, a permanent resident, it says. Probably a character that will be used over and over in the background as the show goes on. This is in collaboration with Prizio, and all of the donations will go towards LA fire relief, which is a cool cause. And this is actually not the first time that they've done this kind of a contest. This is actually the 5th time they've done a Put a Fan in South Park contest. It's got a pretty interesting history, all things considered. I hadn't realized that this happened so many times. You might remember that the first time this happened was in season 7's Red Man's Greed. There was a character named Alex Glick who was a fan who won a AIDS charity to help donate for AIDS relief. This character actually has a bunch of dialogue, and he pipes in a lot over the course of the episode, shows up totally out of nowhere, and has a really funny send-off here at the end.
I got to come on and do the guest voice thingy?
What? Get the hell out of here!
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Jill.
They did this again 7 years later in the season 14 premiere Sexual Healing. A fan named Matthew Klinner won a contest, and he was animated into the intro sequence of that episode. This was a contest called Become a South Park Citizen, which is not dissimilar from what we're seeing here. I don't think it benefited any particular charity, but it was a contest and sweepstakes. In season 22, a man named Hugh won an O Maze campaign for Next for Autism, and he appears in the background of the episode Dead Kids, which was the season 22 premiere. And then they actually reused his model later in that season in Nobody Got Cereal, and he gives a presentation, and he's voiced by Trey Parker. So this is the first time we've seen a reuse of one of these guest character models.
So I'd like to thank you all for coming to tonight's symposium. When should I start to worry?
And then in the pandemic special, we actually got an appearance from a fan named Seth Furman, and this was a Make-A-Wish appearance. Seth sadly passed away 2 months after the premiere of the pandemic special. He seemed to be a huge South Park fan, and this was part of his wish to be in the show, which is really cool for them to do. You can actually see some of his videos on YouTube. He used to do these little animations, and then his family has been posting these really nice videos of him. He seemed to be a really amazing pianist, and there's some great videos of him playing piano on there if you want to check those out. So obviously South Park is no stranger to these kinds of sweepstakes or contests to bring a guest into the show, to bring a fan into the show. But this one does seem to be a little different. Although they used Hugh 2 different times over the course of that season, this one says a permanent resident. I guess the idea here is that they're constantly reusing these character models for background characters anyways, so why not just create a permanent resident character and then have that character recur in the background over the course of the show. That would be a pretty cool thing to be a fan of this show, to have this contest and win this contest, and then to be able to just point out like the Leo DiCaprio meme every time you see yourself in South Park for the remainder of the show's lifespan. If you're interested, go check out the South Park Studios YouTube. They will have all of the information in the description, I'm sure, if you want to check out how to participate in this sweepstakes. I don't know how quickly you'll be put into an episode because it seems like they're actually pretty far along on season 27. Personally, I am not going to put my name in the hat. I'm just waiting for them to completely lambast me for being someone who talks about their show on the internet. I'm just kidding. There's no way they would ever give me the satisfaction of putting me in a South Park episode. These kinds of competitions are pretty fun, and I'm kind of surprised that South Park hasn't done it more often. Obviously, this is the 5th time over their entire lifespan, but because South Park is a show that is animated in such a simplistic way, it's got to be so easy to insert a character into the show like this. So honestly, it seems like something they could do more often. Matt and Trey and a lot of the animators and a lot of the production staff, I'm sure a lot of those characters are designed after one another or their friends or their family, just as little Easter eggs for each other. Obviously, this bodes well for the future of South Park, not that it was ever really in doubt. Some people think it's in doubt because of the Paramount HBO lawsuit situation and because the show has kind of been weirdly in limbo for the last couple years, but the new season is coming out on July 9th, season 27. I'm going to be covering every single episode as we go, and the show is still renewed through like season 30. I think the Paramount specials are probably done. It seems like after the HBO and Paramount lawsuit settles, those are just going to disappear, and we're probably going to go back to 10 episode seasons, completely destroying the special experiment, which I do want to make an entire video about at some point on the main channel, which is sadly kind of a failed experiment, but an interesting one to say the least. But it would be hard to believe that they would be doing a permanent resident of South Park sweepstakes if there wasn't any future of South Park for that permanency to exist in. That's really all I got. What do you guys think about this South Park Animate a Fan contest? A permanent resident. Are you guys going to submit? What are you going to do? Let me know. And if you guys do submit and win, let me know. I want to find your character and point them out every time I talk about the show. Also, make sure to check out some of my other videos about the current state of South Park. I just did one about the HBO Max and Paramount lawsuit and the weird fact that that seems to have landed them in a place where they're going to have HBO Max and Paramount Plus both carry South Park. If these new articles are to be believed. And then also over on my main channel, I've been talking about the potential banned episodes coming up on Paramount Plus once the show shifts over to Paramount Plus, which is a larger list than we've ever seen. And I do think I've pretty much gotten to the bottom of why they'll be doing that, thanks to another TV show and cross-referencing some TV syndication scheduling. It's a whole lot. So check that stuff out. I talk about South Park a lot, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny Two Cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny Two Cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.